So here's the big question. How are entrepreneurs like us, who have been hustling and struggling to make it to success, who seem to make it one step forward only to fall two steps back, who are dedicated, determined, and driven? How do we finally break through and win? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Brian Kelly, and this is the Mind, Body, Business Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mind, Body, Business Show. Yes, indeed, we go to the farthest reaches of the earth. My guest is joining us from good old down under Australia, near Melbourne. I cannot wait to bring him on. Amazing gentleman, Jürgen Strauss. You are going to meet him, and he is going to drop bombs of value all over the place. Wonderful, beautiful bombs. And the Mind, Body, Business Show, real quick, what is that all about? It is about what I call the 3 pillars of success. I had begun studying only successful people over the last decade or a little bit more. And in that time of studying, these are mentors of mine. These are authors that I've met. These are authors that are no longer with us. These are people that are successful. And what I found over that time was 3 patterns kept bubbling to the top. They're the same pattern over and over and over again, that these successful people possessed these traits that I didn't at the moment. And I realized what they were. And you might guess where they may fall. It's, yes, in the very title of this show, called Mind, which starts with your mindset. And each and every individual that I studied that had achieved a higher, much higher level of success than I had at the time, had a very powerful and, most importantly, flexible mindset. And then there was body. Each and every one of them, to a person, took care of themselves physically and through what they ingested nutritionally. So they worked out, they exercised, and they also took care of themselves that way. So the mind and body, I like to say, are a team. And more importantly, they are your team. And if you have any member of a team that is not operating at a peak level of performance, then the team as a whole suffers. So when would now be the right time to take care of your mind and your body in a much better way? And business. Well, business is multifaceted. Each and every one of these individuals had mastered the skill sets required to build a successful business, to maintain and then grow and continue to improve. And the skill sets are wide and varied. There's sales, marketing, team building, systematizing, leadership. It goes on and on and on and on and on and on. The thing is, I don't think, in my humble opinion, any one person can master, and I'm talking about mastering each of these skill sets in one lifetime. There's just too many. It takes a long time to master one, let alone several. And there's only one skill set, though, that you really, truly need to master to make this work. And I mentioned it. It was one of the ones I brought up, and that is the skill set of leadership. When you have mastered the skill set of leadership, you now have the ability and you have mastered the skill set of delegating to those who do have the skills that you have not yet mastered. So there you go. It makes it easy. Why not press the easy button? That's what I prefer, and it works. And that's what successful people do. So that's what this show is all about. It's a show by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs. And I only bring on the most successful of the most successful from all over the world. Tonight is no different. You're going to love this gentleman. Before I bring him on, real quick, another great trait of very successful people is, to a person, they are very voracious readers of books. And with that, I like to segue real quick over to a little segment I affectionately call Bookmarks.
Bookmarks. Born to read. Bookmarks. Ready, steady, read. Bookmarks. Brought to you by reachyourpeaklibrary.com.
Yes, reachyourpeaklibrary.com. There it is. That is a website I had developed with you in mind. And I know that sounds a little cheesy, but it's true. If you're a business person, if you're an entrepreneur, and you're looking for any kind of guidance on how to be successful, then I found later in life just how important books were. And I didn't start reading voraciously till I was about the age of 48. I'm 56 now. So I've been hitting the books hard, as they say, since then, because I realized and experienced the true unbelievable results I've been getting just as a result of reading the right books, as it says there on the site. And so on this site are just the books that I personally have read, and only the ones that have had a profound positive impact on me, either in business and professional life or in personal life, or both. And so I put these together with you in mind to say, well, at least this way, now you don't have to go hunting all over the place and wondering if a certain book at least had positive impact on someone else who's successful. So this way, your odds of picking a good book and not wasting time reading it are greatly improved. So that is the reason this is together. And real quick, a side mention on this, reachyourpeaklibrary.com. Do yourself a favor. And instead of clicking over or typing it in and looking for it while you're watching this, no. Please, instead, please, write it down on a piece of paper or a notepad on your computer and stay with us, because the magic happens in the room. I would so hate for you to take your gaze away from the screen and your thoughts away and have Jürgen say that one thing that could have just changed your life forever, and you miss it. That is why it is so important. The magic happens in the room. Speaking of this gentleman, Jürgen, I think it is time to bring this amazing young man onto the screen. Here we go.
It's time for the Guest Expert Spotlight. Savvy, skillful, professional, adept, trained, big league, qualified.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Mr. Jürgen Strauss. Woo. Oh, I should have said doctor, shouldn't I? I forgot, doctor. Yes.
Great to be with you, Brian. I'm not sure about that massive build-up in the introduction, whether I'm going to be able to live up to that.
Oh, I think you're going to exceed it. After talking to you right before the show, I have no doubt. Don't sweat it. Just be you, because that's what people want. And I already can tell that, who you are is what the people want. They want to know your deep wisdom, your deep experience. And I know it's going to be helpful. Every single show, it's just amazing. People like you that come on that provide the value just blow my mind in such great ways. And I'm just blessed, and I'm so appreciative that you came on the show all the way from Australia. Thanks for traveling all the way over here.
Well, thanks for the opportunity, and I'm really looking forward to contribute what I can to you and to your audience.
It's going to be phenomenal, my friend. Before we get started officially, I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping and mention that you can win a 5-night stay at a 5-star resort, luxury resort. Compliments of our sponsors. You see the big red circle up there, the biginsidersecrets.com. That's Jason Nass, my buddy, and his team. We give away one of these every single show, and we will show you exactly how you can enter to win toward the end of the show. So stick with us, and you must be on live to the end to learn how you can enter to win that. That is a phenomenal gift. And yes, we will all be able to move about the world soon. I'm certain of it. It's just going to happen. And also, if you're struggling with putting a live show together and it's overwhelming and you want a lot of the processes done for you while still enabling you to put on a high quality show and connect with great people like Jürgen and grow your business all at the same time, then head on over to carpetbombmarketing.com. Carpet Bomb Marketing, saturate the marketplace with your message. And one of the key components that is contained in the Carpet Bomb Marketing courses, one that you'll learn how to absolutely master, is the very service we use to stream our live shows right here on the Mind Body Business Show. Over the course of now over 9 years, we've tried so many of these quote unquote TV studio solutions for live streaming. And StreamYard is, in our humble opinion, the best of the best. It combines supreme ease of use along with unmatched functionality. So start streaming right now, today. You can do this after the show's over. High quality, professional looking shows for free with StreamYard now. Visit the website at ryp.im/streamlive, all one word, ryp.im/streamlive. Now we can finally bring on this amazing gentleman, Mr. Jürgen Strauss, Dr. Jürgen Strauss. He is the founder and chief innovator at Innovabiz, who help business owners build visibility, professional credibility, and deep connection with their dream clients. I'm loving this already. His philosophy is to make marketing human again. As the host of the InnovaBuzz. He's really testing my my ability to talk tonight.
Yeah, I know,
Innovation
you got
podcast.
it.
InnovaBuzz. There we go. Innovation podcast with over 300 meaningful conversations. He's doing the work, ladies and gentlemen. Jürgen has been privileged to chat with entrepreneurs from all over the world. So this sounds familiar. I love this. Prior to founding Innovabiz, Jürgen worked in the science and chemical industries, leading large global multinational teams across Asia, Europe, India, North America, and Australia. He spent years at the intersection of technology, science, human behavior, marketing, and business management. Oh, I love that combination. He's happily married with 2 adult children. I think we must be separated, twin separated birth or something. I got the same exact thing going on here. 2 pet cats. Oh, we used to have cats. And Jürgen is an avid photographer and cyclist. With that, finally, officially, welcome to the show, my friend. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks for that really warm welcome.
Oh, you bet. You bet. And so I like to kick things off with the first word of this show, mind. And I love reading the bio and getting to know, what kind of things you have accomplished, your experience, your background, how many years in business, all those things, seeing that you've worked with all these different industries in all these different countries, that tells a lot. What I like to do, Jürgen, is actually go deeper. And this, don't worry, this won't hurt. It's painless. But what I love to do is get into that big, beautiful brain of yours and find out what is it that really, truly, at your core, motivates you every single day when you get up in the morning. Because let's face it, being an entrepreneur is not for the faint of heart. It's not for everyone.
Right.
Well, there would be a lot more of us, wouldn't there? So
Definitely.
For you, when you get up knowing that you're going to be facing challenge after challenge, what is it that is going on in your big, beautiful brain that just keeps you going really fast and really hard every single day?
Well, there's a couple of things that really drive me. And one of those is the idea of serving others and making a difference to others. And, it's always throughout my career, whatever role I was in, I realized very early on that my motivation comes from seeing the difference I've made to somebody else. If it's helping them take a technical product and turn it into an end user product that they then sell and their business grows as a result, or whether it's helping an individual in a big company have a big success within that company because of my assistance, and then they get a promotion, for example. So those things really give me a sense of achievement to make that contribution to others. And the second thing is around learning. And I was thinking about this question the other day again, and thinking back to my days at university. Now, my alma mater is Monash University here in Australia, and this is a long time ago, but their motto is Ancora Imparo, which is I am still learning. And I still live that every day today. So going back to your intro where you talked about the books and the bookmarks, that's something that I read a lot of books. I listen to a lot of audio books. I listen to lots of podcasts. And if there's something that I run up against and think, that's an issue for me, or I can't do that, I always try my best to turn around and say, well, where's the learning opportunity? What can I learn here? And so there's those two things are really what kind of drive me and get me curious about what's going on and open up doors all over the place.
Oh, man, fantastic. I want to touch on a couple of those. But first, we have people coming by to wave and say hi. Erica.
Hey, Erica, how are you?
Yes. I have a feeling she's the one that referred you to this show. She's been on the show. She's an amazing, amazing young woman.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on and saying a virtual hello. Appreciate you. Andrew Kavanaugh says hello, and he too loves this tool called StreamYard. So you know Andrew as well?
Yeah. I don't know Andrew. I haven't met yet.
Even better. Thanks for coming on and participating, joining us. And for those of you that haven't actually raised your hand just yet, go ahead and say hi. Let us know where you're from and just say hi. And if you have questions for Jürgen as we go through this show, we'll field those as well. As long as they're pertinent and to the point, we will definitely do that. But I loved everything you just said, Jürgen. I mean, your motivation is, you said it in one word toward the end that really encapsulated the whole essence of you and what motivates you. And it was the word contribution. And that's what I love about what I get to do is every single guest expert I have ever had on this show, bar none, that is one of their driving forces, is serving others, contributing, and getting that, part of what drives all of us is seeing the success, not just the act of helping, but also getting to the point of them getting the results they were after. I mean, that's when it really hits home and the goosebumps start bumping up on your arms, right? And you just said,
that's right. Yeah.
Job well done. That felt good because that person's better off because of you, right?
And we win by winning together. That's
there you
kind of something I came up with the other day, reading a story that people are probably familiar with from the Special Olympics back in Montreal, I think 1976. You familiar with that story?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Well, the story is there's a 100 meters race in the Special Olympics at Montreal. The gun goes and all the participants make their way as best they can with their various conditions to the finish line, all except one little guy who stumbles and falls early on. So he's lying on the ground, he's hurt himself, he's crying. A couple of other participants hear him and realize, turn around, look back, and they actually run back in the opposite direction from the finish line to help the little kid, pick him up, and the three of them link arms and come across the line, and they're all big smiles because what they realized and what they understood is that, there's things that are more important than winning for yourself, and that's helping everybody to win, and they all won. So, that story, I read that a couple of weeks ago when I was preparing for something else, and I thought, we win together. That's kind of the motto.
I love that story. Oh man, I just got all warm and fuzzy inside. We can just end the show right now and I'd be happy. That was phenomenal. We're not going to, but I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I had not heard that. That's a phenomenal story though. I mean, and of course kids, right? I love it.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, we got a few more dropping in to say hello. Live vibrantly. So that's Karen Duncombe. She's going to be on the show actually coming up.
Hey, Karen.
She says, good evening. Great show so far. Oh, yeah, we're just beginning. And my good buddy, Don Hoperich, he is from Antelope Valley, which is my neck of the woods. This guy, he's an amazing guy. Jürgen, you would love meeting him as well. He runs the Chamber of Commerce here locally. I've never seen anyone help so many businesses with such a giving heart as Don. So Don, man, I love you. Thank you for coming on. He's coming on often and saying hi. And I just so appreciate his support all the time. That's how he is. That's how he operates. Fantastic. Now I opened the show talking about, for me, what became very, very important, which was the importance of reading, and had not known that for so many years. And it sounds like you're doing it as well. What kind of book would you say, if you're not reading one now, what is the most recent book that had an impact on you? If you were to,
I've written 3 down because I'm actually in the process. Well, here's one I've finished reading that had a profound impact on me, and there's a related one that I'm reading right now that's already having a profound impact, although I'm only about 10% of the way through it. The first one that I've finished is Ask Powerful Questions by Will Wise, and the subtitle is Create Conversations That Matter. So there's going to be a theme around that, because the second book is Good Talk by Daniel Stillman, and the subtitle there is How to Design Conversations That Matter. So they're sort of connected. And then I'm reading, sorry?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And then I'm reading the latest marketing book by Matthew Sweezy, which is The Context Marketing Revolution.
I'm writing this down.
And I've also got one on my desk, which is the what's that one called? Oh, it's the latest book, Team Tools, something like that. It's the latest book from the Strategizer team, written by Stefano Mastrigiacomo.
Holy moly, that's a mouthful right there. Good job.
Yeah. So as you can see, I kind of read all over the place. Depending which room I'm in or what device I'm on, I will read different things or listen to different audiobooks.
I love it. Who is the author again of Ask Powerful Questions?
Will Wise.
Will Wise. Okay, thank you. So I just want to real quickly make this verbal note to everyone watching and listening, is that when you hear of things, notice he said this was it had a powerful impact on him. the first one, especially the second one already, and he's only 10% in. When you hear things like that, if you've never heard of, or if you haven't read those books yet, jot those down and get those books immediately. Order them. Don't wait. Even if you have 10 more books before them, I'm amassing a bigger and bigger library because of people like Jürgen. When they come that highly touted and recommended, and it's by someone like this gentleman, then I'm all over it. I don't hesitate. I don't even, not for a second. Like as soon as this show's over, I'm not kidding. I'm going to go to, I go to Audible. I love Audible. I'm going to go to Audible, and I'm going to order at least those first two, and I'll look into the third one as well. And they're going to be in my library, and I'll have them sitting there ready. I always download them to my phone. So in the case I'm in an airplane and I don't have Wi-Fi, I have it, and I just put on the headphones and I just listen and take notes and have a good time. But just want to throw that
the
out.
Team Tools is one you probably want to get a hard copy of because it's very visual.
So yeah, I was telling everybody to write notes in the beginning of the show, right? And look, I'm not asking you to do anything I'm not doing. So there we go. I got notes, and there's a previous page I already filled before this one. And it just helps with the flow of the show, but also I get to go look back on these and for myself. But what was that book he mentioned? I do this all the time. Yeah. So that way I'm here present, and as you should be listening to this amazing man, is to take notes and keep your concentration right forward. And this goes for networking events. When we're able to do this again in hotels, I used to teach that from stage. It's like, they'd be 90-minute segments on average, and people get a little antsy, might have to go use the restroom or whatever. It's like, well, time your drinking your water, wait till it's toward the end of the 90-minute segment before you drink a bunch of water, so that you don't have to leave right in the middle of the best thing that could have changed your life. So just keep with that. All right, enough of that. Enough preaching. So I want to talk about your business. I want to get into what it is exactly you do. I'm so curious when I get wonderful, successful people like you to find out what do you do? Like, I mean, in a detailed manner. I have it from a high level view, but I wanted you to be able to explain it in your own words. Maybe start out with the type of clients and clientele you work with. Where do they come from? And what levels of business are they? And then, what is your business? I know that was a lot, but
yeah. Well, the dream client for us are business coaches and consultants. So they're kind of operating in that coaching space, and the industries they work in typically would be manufacturing, technical type manufacturing, and some in the healthcare industry. So they're serving those industries. They might have one principal coach and some support staff or strategic partners, or they might be up to a business of 20 with various people doing their training. What we do is help them build their visibility, their professional credibility, and really that deep connection with their dream customers by developing their marketing systems around what is the best fit for them. And so that covers things like developing the whole system from understanding what value they bring to the table, understanding themselves. That's always the first step we start with, to understanding who their dream customers are and how they can connect with them. What are the pains and the needs of their dream customers, and how can they craft a message that's going to capture or earn, I like to use the word earn in this context, their attention, the attention of their dream customers, so that they can then start to build a relationship.
Fantastic. And so it's primarily about marketing, it sounds like. Helping them. It's
primarily about marketing, but a lot of things come into that, a lot of ancillary things. So, for example, you mentioned our podcast. We're getting close to episode 400 actually now. I think I recorded episode 392 yesterday. So with that, we have a really well-oiled machine running there that we've built those systems over time. And of course, people have asked, how do you do that? How do you produce 3 episodes a week? How do you get on the show and have these conversations? How do you reach the guests and so on? So we've built systems where we help people launch their own podcast, help them get on other people's podcasts as guests. And where our training differs. We look at all the logistical part of it and the technical part of it, but we also work with the person and say, well, how do you show up so that you provide value to your audience, and also you get your message across in a way that you're going to develop that deep connection with your dream client. So we really focus on the messaging and the mind, a lot of mindset work there in terms of being able to turn up on the day, on the show, provide that value, and have the right audience, the right potential dream customer say, oh, I need to talk more with that person. So that's a heavy focus. And we've also recently started doing what I've called human connection events, and I've subtitled them not networking events. And again, they're where we bring a bunch of people together online at the moment, and we have meaningful conversations. That's why I was attracted to these books, Good Talk and Powerful Questions, because it helped me understand how I could develop those questions that will prompt these meaningful conversations. And recently we had an event where we brought 40 people together, many of whom were complete strangers to one another, and they got into some really deep conversations. In fact, at one point I was feeling very nervous because I thought this could easily go really out of control, and yet everybody was very respectful. Everybody went away saying that, you know, we really feel as though we've deeply connected with another human being, and we're going to continue some of those conversations. So that's all coming into that part of connecting people together and giving people the opportunity to meet people and identify who their dream customer is, starting to build those relationships that then could lead on to business.
My goodness, that sounds like a one-stop shop to me. It sounds very comprehensive. You've covered a lot of the bases. I put his website up on the screen. You can see that, innovabiz.com innovabiz.com.au. That one threw me the first time. It threw me again there. But there's an extra .au for Australia that shows you this gentleman is in Australia. And you serve clients from all over the world. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, we have clients in Australia, of course, in New Zealand, in Asia, in India, in Europe, and throughout North America, Canada, and the US.
And are you finding that you're still able to conduct business in a very impactful way, even though you cannot travel and physically visit these individual clients?
Yeah, personally, I've always, because the clients are spread all over, we've always relied heavily on the online tools to connect with people and work with them regularly. Of course, I love to travel as well, so occasionally I like to get out and see people in person. But having the lockdown happen didn't really impact our ability to work with the clients.
And that is
focused more on the online one.
Yeah, that is so compelling, because you're one of many, including yours truly, that not knowing this thing was going to happen, this pandemic, but we were already kind of positioned so that we could still operate without much of a ripple in the water, in the ocean, right? It was like, okay. In fact, my personal, in my business, our activity went way up once that hit.
Yeah,
I still can't explain why, but I'm okay with it. But the cool thing is, lucky for us, you and I, we have that ability because of our business model to transact business online. Not everyone does. I mean, there's restaurant industries, there's shipping and receiving that really are hurting in this time. And I don't want to ever sound insensitive to them that rely on, physical presence somewhere at some time. Hopefully things will lift and we'll get some businesses saved very soon. But, it's good to have. And I've seen a lot of incredible, innovative companies pivot really fast out of absolute sheer need to go online as much as they can. My wife and I, we have a favorite restaurant that we go to. We like to just go. It's kind of our date night. And they had a lot of struggles here locally. They kept getting shut down like completely. But they got really creative really fast. And they never did this before they started delivering. And the owner himself brought the meal, and there he is in his nice truck out in front of my house. I'm like, man, this is phenomenal. I just love the innovation that, that's the great business spirit, don't you think?
That's right. Yeah. Well, one of the ones that I really thought was very clever was a winery here that they very much focused on people coming in, doing wine tastings, and they were well known for their wine tastings because they had the winemaker come out and do an education session, talk to the wine lovers about how the wine was produced and where the grape was grown and all the background. So it was a complete experience. And of course, most of the people then bought the wines that they liked when they had the tasting. What they did was they organized virtual wine tastings. So they set times on Zoom, got to, had people register on Zoom, and then send out the wine pack to the people before the event. Then everybody got on Zoom with their wines in front of them. The winemaker did the presentation just as he normally would in person. And of course, there was a lot more opportunity for people to have one-on-one interactions within that Zoom room that perhaps wouldn't happen if it was live, because there people would be just within their little group that they'd come along. So it kind of took a different dimension, but it added something to it, even though it had taken away the in-person connection. And as a result, their wine sales basically held up because they ran these events, and the wine sales that they did through the wine tasting events stayed up because they were doing them virtually, and the sales were still happening.
That is a brilliant observation you just made. I had not ever thought of that. But, normally, like you said, people would go and they'd sit at their own table in their own area, on their own bar stool, wherever, but they would kind of keep to themselves, them and their spouse or significant other or friend or whatever happens to be, family, and not really interact. But you're right. I mean, that is so true. When you're all together on Zoom and there are other people talking, you actually interact with more people than you would if you physically. It's like, wow, it went from you think you're going impersonal by being online, but it became more personal than if you were
in
there.
Some ways. Yeah.
And I just attended recently a summit, which would normally and did normally get held in a physical location at a hotel, right? And these guys, they did such incredible work, Jürgen. You would be impressed. I know you're a tech savvy guy. That they put it together. And just, it was seamless, and they had hundreds of people on. They did breakout rooms, and it was just like a well-oiled machine. And I got the most result out of this virtual online summit than any networking event, boot camp, you name it. And I've been to so many, I can't tell you, a lot of them. I got more results out of that than any other before it. These guys nailed it. I was so impressed. So there's really no need to go physical anymore, even though I prefer it. I love the energy, talking to somebody right there, being on stage, seeing the crowd, all that good stuff. But it's really interesting what this has caused us all to do. And I think it's been a good thing from that point of view.
Yeah, well, I think there's opportunities there to take forward what we learn from what we've been forced to do and going into these physical events and pivoting and taking those where we say, hey, there's something new here, there's a new dimension at it, taking that and using it going forward, but still come back to those in person, because as you say, there's something different about an in-person event and the energy around it and the interactions, and also being able to read people's body language and so on. That's a skill, but it's a skill that's really hard to master online.
Yeah. It's 2D, it's small, you don't feel it as much. And it's like speaking from stage, that's one of the reasons I went to this platform. This is long before we all got hit with COVID, but I needed to hit the reset button and stop doing full-blown seminars and just get my ship in order, so to speak. And that was a long story in its own right. But I needed to get on quote unquote stage. I just felt it. I love it so much. So I started doing this show for that reason. And it just developed. It's now almost 3 years into it. And I've grown. I've met so many amazing people. It's really caused incredible growth in my business, which I never expected. Just blew me away. You're talking about how you've integrated podcasting into your marketing strategy. I think that's brilliant because it works. It just works, as you know. So, doing live shows, doing podcasts, doing all of these things help. And it's just amazing how that, interaction with people, it's all about personal connection, right?
That's right. Yeah.
We've gone through these cycles where we go to automation and email mass emails to thousands and tens of thousands of people, to now where it's like, well, when the rubber meets the road, you need to meet with that person. I mean, is that what you're seeing as well, Jürgen?
Oh, absolutely. It's, it comes back to this concept of you do business with people you know, like, and trust. So the first thing you've got to do, you've got to get to know the person a little bit. And then you determine, do you like the person? If you don't like them, it's probably likely you'll go look for somebody else to help you out. And of course, the trust element's got to be there. So you've got to say, well, if I give this person money to provide a service in particular, can I trust them to provide that service? Can I trust them to do what they say? Can I trust them to deliver what they promise? So, and all of that starts with building that relationship so that you can have a conversation. And even when things might go wrong later on there, if there's a strong relationship already established, you can have an honest conversation with that person without burning bridges or without that relationship breaking down. You can kind of challenge them, or which, I love that about my clients. I mean, they will challenge me on various things, which is feedback for me and an opportunity for me to improve, because otherwise I just keep doing the same old thing.
I swear we were separated at birth, brother. I mean, this is awesome. You are amazing. And there's that whole thing about being flexible and willing to go with things that work. And recently, you just brought to mind that, there's this new, at this moment of this show, it's fairly new, app called Clubhouse. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a social media audio only app. And as soon as I heard that, I'm like, oh, this sounds horrible, right? No pun intended. This sounds horrible. It's a sound only app. But I have a close friend who is a very, very successful entrepreneur who jumped on it pretty quickly and just kept raving about it. I'm like, what is this all about? Jürgen, I did not own an iPhone. I never had.
Well, that's my problem. I read the intro. Oh, you bought an iPhone especially for it.
For that reason. That is the point. Yeah, I just said I've heard enough. I've got to jump on this thing, and I got.
Well, I read the email, and I just bought a new phone. I read the email where they introduced it, and I thought, oh, I've got to sign up for this. This is absolutely a perfect fit for what I'm doing.
It is.
And of course, I got to their website and it said iPhone only, and I thought, oh no.
I think it's genius in a couple of ways, because the statistics that I've heard are that 87% of people that have a smartphone are Android users. The rest are iPhone, which I thought, wow, that was interesting. So they picked a small market because this is a slow rollout. It's in beta. And so can you imagine going to 87% of all users and unleashing it, and then having all of those support requests coming in versus 13%. So I thought that was actually smart, even though I didn't own an iPhone and I didn't like that was their choice. And it's by invite only currently. So you have to get somebody to invite you. So it's a very slow rollout. But I'll tell you now, having been on it, I actually hosted a room once. It was a whole different dynamic, Jürgen. I mean, unbelievably high value. Grant Cardone, Uncle G, was on there at least twice right after I got onto the app. And I was in a room with Grant Cardone. I mean, it's a virtual room, but it's live. You can talk to him. I'm like, whoa, this is unbelievable. Then there was, I'm trying to think of the guy's name from Shark Tank. It'll come to me. And Jay Abraham were both on there.
Mark Cuban.
I did not see him. It was the FUBU guy. Damon. Damon. Doggone it. I should know this. I knew it. Damon Johns, I think, or John Damon. Doggone it. Someone might comment if you know that, if you're watching this. Yeah. But it's just there's nowhere else in the world you could do this. That they would, they're spending literally hours on this thing. Grant Cardone was on there I was on it for a little over an hour, and he wasn't like 100% solid, but he would stay in the room, quote unquote, virtually, and then come back from whatever he had to do after he'd unmute his mic and talk. It's amazing. So if you don't have Clubhouse, if you're not on it, get on it. Not just you, Jürgen, but I'm talking to the whole base. Didn't want to go too much on a side note there, but since I said it there, follow us on Clubhouse at Brian C. Kelly if you have it. And if you need an invite, I have 6 or 7 of them now, which is cool. So I can give those out as well, but be happy to do so. We do have, let's see if this is a good one. Yeah, Andrew agrees. He said, Clubhouse has been fun, feels different. And it sounds like what you do, Jürgen, is ripe. perfect for this. Everyone that comes on, all they do is provide value and answer questions and raise questions. And it's rare that I ever hear anyone trying to pitch themselves. That's what is really astonishing to me. I love it. And so it's like this show. Like, I want to know about your business, so I want you to be able to tell people about it, right? And so I asked you that's giving permission, and that's what this show is about. It's about lifting you and people like you so that people can get to know you and know, like, and trust you. I know you now. I like you, and I trust you. It was that quick. Look at that smile. How can you not trust this guy? I like him.
And that's one of the things we teach people is how do you recognize that real quickly, whether that person is somebody that you can work with and whether they actually fit your dream customer profile. If you're out there putting a message out to those dream customers. Exactly.
So I wanted to get back to your business here real quick, if we could. I'm going to actually pull up your website so people get an idea what it looks like. And look, I did not bring Jürgen here to pitch anything, and he agreed not to pitch anything. I'm asking him. So I'm giving him full permission because I have a deep-seated interest because of everything I've heard him say makes me more curious about this man, because it doesn't matter what business he's doing. I would do business with him if it's a fit in, between our respective businesses, just because of everything he's set up to this point. So I want to give him some props and show off his beautiful website that he's got here. Look, it looks just like him right there. You can see it's him. And there's proof in the proof of the podcast right there. InnovaBuzz, that's the name of his podcast. The name of his business is Innovabiz. And you've already heard. And look at this. He's on all the platforms. This gentleman gets and understands marketing. There's no doubt. Oh, and he's got this really cool talk to me little bubble in the lower right. Yeah. Go to this and you interact with this. Click on it and have a virtual conversation with them by sending him a video back and saying, "Hey, Jürgen, I saw you on the Mind Body Business Show. Just wanted to say hi. I want to meet you. Let's see if we can do business together."
So anybody that gives me a video, anybody that responds to me there, I'll send you a like response. If you send me a video, I'll do a video back, personalized.
Oh, yes. And look at that. Okay, I got to point this out. Michael Gerber, you interviewed him, right?
I did, yes, on episode 54.
That's huge.
He's one of my business heroes. We're way before I even started my own business. When I was still in the corporate world, I was reading his e-myth books and devouring them. So when I got the opportunity to connect with him and bring him on the show, it was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, that's amazing.
He was amazing, yeah. Very generous.
I'm still here.
Okay.
I ran around the corner. I was hoping you'd talk a little longer because I wanted to show people, because of you, I got inspired. And this just came in the mail.
Oh, wonderful.
The latest book. I have the E-Myth Revisited. The lights are really shining. There we go.
Yeah.
And because of
the E-Myth,
there was no Audible version, daggone it, but I got the hard copy. And I met this guy in person one time.
Okay.
Maybe 10 years ago or so, something like that. And he was a speaker at this event, and he also had that booth outside, the sponsor booth. And that's where he was during a break. And I walked up, and just wonderful gentleman, like an old grandpa. He's 80, I think now. Is that right?
Yeah, well, that book was launched on his 80th birthday. So that's probably 2 or 3 years ago now. Wow. He put that together beyond E-Myth. So it's kind of the taking it up a higher level from the last E-Myth Revisited book. And he basically did a bunch of events promoting the book and promoting a movement around that book, which was focused on him leaving a legacy. And he's been working since then to bring other people on, younger people on, who will take that whole movement and philosophy forward.
I love it. Yeah, from what I gathered, it was more of build your business as if you're going to sell it, build it to sell.
That's right. Yeah. So if I remember correctly, there's 8 stages there, and the first, or maybe, there's 8, I think. Yeah. And the first 4 stages are basically what the original E-Myth books described. And then the next 4 stages are focused on that selling the business and leaving a legacy. So they're kind of taking a higher view of the whole lot. And of course, you can only do that if you've got all the systems and processes in place so that you're not down in the nitty-gritty of the business, working on the business rather than in the business, which I think is probably attributable to him at some point early on.
Yeah, he said something, and I literally hunted it down. I even got the Kindle version so I could do a search, and I could not find this phrase in the E-Myth Revisited, but I know he said it. I just don't know where I heard it. But I just remember at the time when he said, and when I heard it, I should say, is if you have no systems in your business, you have no business.
Yep, that's right. In fact, I think I read that again recently.
Oh, if you find that, let me know where that is. I've got to find it. Oh man, it's driving me nuts that I can't find that exact quote because
I'll check. It may be in this tool. So you've just reminded me. There's a little tool you'll enjoy. This. It's called Readwise. Now I can give you an affiliate link, but I don't have it with me. Readwise.com, and you can highlight sections of a book. So if you find a quote like that, you can highlight it and send it into your Readwise account, which is cool. But the really cool thing is you can set it up to deliver a random selection of those highlights that you've saved personally, plus related highlights that other people have done on the system that are related to that book or that theme. And you can have them delivered to you at an interval that you like. So I have a daily email coming from Readwise, and I use it. And you can do it with physical books as well. So you just use your phone camera to photograph the page, and then you can highlight the section and send that off. So it's not limited to digital books. And I also use it with my podcast. So with the notes that we make, the show notes from the podcast, often I think back, who said that? And well, what? I remember somebody said something cool, but what was it they said? So I now bookmark things on those show notes as we publish them, and then I'm reminded over years. It sort of comes back randomly. Today I'll get 9 or 10 snippets of things that I've bookmarked in Readwise, and it's kind of a reinforcement of the things that you found cool at the time.
Yeah. Oh man, this is so. I'm telling you, we were separated at birth because. Audible, the app has a little bookmark feature in it as you're listening. And so I could do this while I was driving safely. It was no worse than the old days, reaching down to, if anybody remembers these, a radio knob. Remember those? It took me less time to tap the bookmark symbol than it would to change the station or turn up or down the volume. And I was able to, then you can go online to the web-based version and you can go right to it and actually watch as it reads. And I used to actually add those to this show audibly, and the person would read it out and I'd just take the snippet. It became too time consuming and too much work for every show doing this once a week. I thought if I do that again, I'm going to get some assistance. And I don't know if it provided enough upfront value rather than bringing someone like you on without waiting another 2 minutes for that to go on. So I wanted more time to be with the guests. But it was really fun to do that, and it's right down the same alley, kind of, sort of. I like what you were saying. Readwise sounds great because it does things that are also, you said, related to the one that you highlighted. That's really cool. What a genius concept. What a great time to be alive. You know what? Technology is awesome.
It is, yeah. There's some great things. But having said that, coming back to our philosophy, making marketing more human, one of the things that I find a lot of marketers these days are getting lazy and abdicating to the technology. And whilst the technology is awesome and there's lots of great things you can do with the technology, you've got to keep focused on building the relationships. And so if you can use tools and technology to help free yourself up from the mundane tasks and then spend more time interacting with people, building those relationships, that you get a win-win.
Yeah, and that's some people even to this day miss that whole concept. They want the quick kill, the quick payday, and then move on to the next. But it's not sustainable, or at least it's not as sustainable. And yeah, it takes time to build these relationships, to culture them, to continually keep them alive, and get in touch with your your current and past customers, even those that have left maybe, to keep that going. And just, those things like we've been going to the summits and the networking events and stuff. I've made so many friends and lifelong relationships as a result of just going there and having a chat. Whether or not we're a fit business-wise, it doesn't matter. It's because, it's a connectivity thing. Their network and my network. We can find something that will help each other. Now,
right, yeah.
if you do this long enough, you're not going to be ever at a shortage to help anybody, literally anybody. You may not be able to do it yourself personally, but you'll know somebody who could, and you can connect them. Say, I know this person. They're really great integrity, authority. So yeah, this is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's right. And then of course that gives me the buzz again that I've helped that person. I haven't actually done the thing that's helped them, but I've introduced them to the person that's helped them.
Yeah, there was a guy named Jabez Lebret that I talked to many years ago, and he came up with this term, contribution leadership. And what he would do is he would go volunteer to like anything a seminar, someone running a seminar wanted him to do, run microphones, take care of things in the back room, do whatever, back of the room, and expect zero in return, just to contribute and do so without expecting a thing. And I that went deep with me, and I began doing that, and it reaped great rewards, not necessarily financially, but like you just said, that feeling of you just contributing, you helped. And yeah, it does ultimately come back financially. It does do that. But that's, if you go in it with that reason, usually it's not the right reason. If you go in it with just, I'm going to help, I want to help you, it's about you, not me, then you will see great rewards come back in different forms. Do you agree with that, Jürgen?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You said something there that I'm very passionate about, and that's when you do communicate with people and you do put out knowledge, and at some point there's the crossover to, okay, you've got everything I'm giving you for free. If you want to go further, you have to engage me, you have to buy my service or product. If you go into that journey at the very beginning with the expectation that everybody that signs up for your lead magnet, for example, is going to become a customer, or everybody that you present to, for example, on this show, will reach out to me and become a customer. If I went into it with that presentation, there's two things that will happen. First of all, it's a totally unrealistic expectation. So therefore, at the end of it, I'm going to be totally disappointed. But the second thing, more importantly, is people sense that. People sense that you're just there to draw them into their funnel, and I hate the term funnel, but it's still widely used. Draw them into your funnel, and they're going to bombard you with emails, and at some point, probably in the second email, they're going to start to hit you with sales pitches. And if you sense that, it kind of, to me, it turns me away. So it breaks the trust a little bit. So my philosophy very much is like what you've said. If you decide I'm going to go here and contribute, then you do so with no expectation, and you contribute and you do the best you can, give the value that you have to give to the audience. And the counterintuitive thing is that with that approach, often you get much better results than if you go into it with a real strategic, okay, everybody's going to go into this funnel and I'm going to sell to them, and then I'm going to convert X%. So talking about the statistics. So yeah, the counterintuitive thing is if you go in without expectations, give a lot of value up front, your results often turn out better.
Wise beyond wise. I love this. Yeah, I have a story about business cards, where I don't even carry them. I haven't for years now. And my mentor said it the best. It's like he would never give anyone his business card unless they asked for it. I'm like, ooh. And what the bottom line is there, if they don't ask for it, one of two things happened or didn't happen. One is you didn't provide them enough value for them to make them want to know more about you. Or number two, you just weren't a fit, which is okay. And guess what? Most of the time, that is the case. You're not a fit.
That's right.
But people try to cram that round peg in that square hole or vice versa, and it just doesn't work. I had one guy, he gave me a business card before I even said hi. He just reached out and said, here. And he was doing it for everybody that was walking in the room. Like, what was that? And then another time at another break, he's handed me another one. I said, I already have one. Oh, it's okay. Here. I'm like, what? And then a third time, we're sitting in this seminar. We're near the back. I'm second row from the back. He's in the back. I didn't know it at the time, right behind me. And we have tables in front of us. And all of a sudden, I feel this tap on my shoulder. And you would not believe it. There he was with his arm reached out with a card. And the guy was in the middle of talking on the stage. It was disrespectful beyond, on top of everything else. It's like, you're here. And I said, I already have. I'm like giving him the stink eye, right? And he literally flung it at me like a ninja star so it would land on the table. And so I was told, don't be a ninja, a business card ninja. Just unless they ask for it, don't give it to them because the value isn't there or there's not a fit.
That's right. Yeah. You know what would have been cool there? If you had have taken 2 of his business cards that he'd given you already before, and when he gave you that 5th or 6th one, say, okay, thanks. And here's some of mine. So give him back a couple of his.
That would be awesome. Yeah. Maybe wrap it with mine on top and give him the whole
yeah.
Oh, I love that story because that's the epitome of what not to do. And it's also just as valuable to know what not to do than it is to know what to do. And for you guys, all guys and gals watching, Jürgen Strauss is that guy who knows what to do. I mean, it's so obvious to me. You don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk. Obviously, you wouldn't have a thriving business in marketing. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, you all know marketing is one of the most difficult things to master. And this guy makes a living at it, helping others. And that goes a long way with me right off the bat. I'm like, wow, God bless you, brother. Because, and on that note, I'm really curious, we don't have a whole lot of time. I just look at the clock. So see, we're having a good time. Time goes flat. Time flies, fun. When you are marketing, what, let me just say it this way. You are a marketing expert. If you were to pick one approach today, and you only had one you could choose, what would you say today is the best form of marketing that you and your company utilize that is the most successful?
That's a really good question. And I think it comes back to what you're most comfortable with and what your dream audience is most comfortable with, and also what they resonate with. A lot of people, so we still use email marketing. So we have a lead magnet on our website, and we follow that up with email marketing, but we do it a little differently. So we don't hit people with 20 letters, although I am thinking of experimenting with something along those lines again. But what we do is 3 emails that basically welcome them to our community, tell them where they can get more information. The second email kind of reinforces the download that they can get and just reminds them where it is, and maybe has a couple of additional points on it. And the third one really just asks the question of, how did you find the information we provided, and what else would you like to see? So it's really the prompt to start a communication. So I think the thing to me that's most effective is really finding ways to start that communication, whether that's through email marketing or the other one you talked earlier about, the little video chat thing we've got on our website. That's another way where we promote a way to start the conversation. So it's really getting to that first conversation to be able to understand, first of all, am I a good fit for this person? Can I help them? Because if I can't help them, if they're looking for something that I'm not an expert in, or for some reason we just don't hit it off together, then both of us are wasting our time. And even if I think, well, I need the money, so I'm going to try and sell them, it's only going to end in tears for both of us. So I've learned that. I've been there. I've done it in the early days of my business. I've learned from those mistakes. So now I say, well, I don't think we're a good fit. If it's a person that needs some expertise that I don't have, I will connect them to somebody who I believe can help them. Or if it's a person that we don't actually connect, I will probably give them a few other people to talk to. I'll say, I don't think we're a match, and here's some other people. So that way I've at least helped them take the next step on their journey. But I think the answer to your question, just to summarize it again, is finding ways to start that conversation. And again, don't abdicate to automation. Use the automation, for example, to put a chat bot on your website, or a good one, or to start the email sequence, but very quickly get into that conversation mode so that you can understand what's the specific need, how can I help you specifically, and at that point, then you will learn a lot about that person. You'll build the relationships, and you'll know what it is that they need the most help with, and how you can provide something that will give them that help. And it's kind of the foundation that sets you up for success on both sides.
The expert in marketing, Jürgen Strauss. Nobody has answered that in that way, and you are such a breath of fresh air. You just told the truth that this is what works. It's about having a real conversation. That is the best form. It's not the only form. Other forms work, but according to Jürgen, that is his best go-to right now, and it's so pertinent. That's what I'm experiencing. The more that you have personal connections, communication, the better your. Holy smoke!
And I know Erica's here on the show. She might still be here. She's big on LinkedIn. I do a lot on LinkedIn now, but the same principle applies whether you're going to LinkedIn or Instagram now is big, or Facebook. If you're going into there, rather than we post a lot of information, but it's kind of information for general consumption, and hopefully it's helpful to the right people. But when I reach out to somebody, I try to start that conversation, and not by pitching them, not by saying, hey, buy my stuff or listen to my podcast even. I'll go in with the view, hey, I read your profile. I see you're in this space. I wonder if you'd like to connect with me, and let's have a conversation. And I might give them something that hopefully will be helpful to them. If they find it helpful, that usually starts the conversation. If they don't, well, that's fine too.
Fantastic. We've actually gone a little over time already, but we're not done yet. I hope you're okay with sticking on for a few more minutes here. And I promised, as you can see on the bottom of the screen, for those of you watching, that I did promise a giveaway. We actually have 2 giveaways. I didn't mention that at the beginning of the show. I apologize for that, Jürgen, but this amazing guy has a gift for you as well, so you don't want to miss it. We're almost there. But there is, Jürgen, there's one question that I like to ask of every guest that comes on this show. It's the same question with each person. The answers have been quite surprising, and I love it because of that fact. And it can be personal to a certain degree, but the answers have always been very profound and just amazing. But before we do that, as I promised, everyone watching and listening, look, before I said, don't take your gaze away from the screen, but now even Jürgen's going to give you the permission to take out your phone, because I'll give it to you to that permission as well. Your smartphone, open up your messaging app. Go ahead and do that right now, and then look back onto the screen in front of you. And what you want to do is where you would actually put the name of the person you're going to be texting, instead put in this number. This number is 314-665-1767. So you may want to write this down, because the screen, we got to put the screen down so I can get to Jürgen's question and his gift as well. So 314-665-1767, write that down. And then where you actually type in a message, where you would put an emoji and how you doing. Well, no emojis, just 2 words separated by a dash. Those 2 words are peak, that's P-E-A-K, dash, or hyphen if you prefer, vacation, peak dash vacation, to 314-665-1767. Do that right now. Go ahead, write that down. You have until the end of this evening, at least my evening. I know it's tomorrow in Straussville, as I would say, but he's in Australia. It's actually Thursday night here in Southern California, and it is Friday now afternoon, mid-afternoon, 1:30-ish p.m.
That's right. Yep.
In wonderful Australia, near Melbourne. I won't give away your exact location just for safety, Jürgen, but I'm just having fun. So go ahead, and then when you do text that in, be sure to look for response, automated response. It's going to ask you a couple of questions before you're officially entered. So just answer them. They're real easy, and do that. And then we have one more. I'm going to hand it over to Jürgen to describe this one. This one's a phenomenal gift. Let me find the right button here to press. It is right here. There it is. I finally found it. And we'll bring up the website so you can kind of give them a little overview, Jürgen, of what they're about to be gifted with.
Yeah. So this is our what we call Marketing Master mini class. So the mini class are the first 4 steps of our marketing framework, and it's all around starting that relationship. So the 4 modules are starting off with what I call the lighthouse. The lighthouse is a metaphor for the constant message you're shining out into the world, and it's got 4 foundations. The first foundation is, who am I as a business owner, as a person? My why have I got something to share? Why am I driven to share what I want to share with the world? What is it that I've got to give, and how do I deliver that? How do I impact people with that? So that's the lighthouse module, which is the first lesson. Then the second lesson is around the dream customer. Who's the dream customer? And getting to know them a little better. And what we do there, we do more there than just the traditional avatar type things. We actually use a tool called an empathy map to really understand what drives them, what motivates them, what their mindset is, and their behaviors that result out of the mindset that they have, and the beliefs that they have, and the values that they have. And then what are their biggest pains, and what are their aspirations and ambitions? So that's the depth we go to understand the dream customer. And then the third and fourth modules are around the messaging. How do we take all of that knowledge and craft a message that's going to earn their attention and begin that conversation and the relationship? So that's the Marketing Master mini class, and there's the link on the screen there that you can access that. It is our lead magnet, one of our lead magnets. So the form will come up like that. You'll be entered in to, and you'll get access to it. I think there's, if I remember correctly, there is another video that will welcome you. So it's highly personalized. And then, as I say, the follow-up emails are very short 3 sequence that essentially ask you, what else can I help you with once you've gone through that little course?
Look at that. Transparent, amazing. And how many thousands of dollars is this going to cost everyone who goes here?
It's absolutely free.
No way. I mean, everything you just explained, come on now. I mean, and I'm saying that on purpose because everyone watching, definitely write this down, ryp.im/InnovaBiz. And that's spelled INNOV as in Victor, AB as in boy, IZ as in zebra. I like that last part. ryp.im/InnovaBiz. And get your free mini masterclass. That is phenomenal. I love this. Did I say that right? Master mini class, other way around. So I cracked myself up. Is that crazy? So appreciate that. And Jürgen, so everyone stick around because we're at that time where I ask him that big question. So are you ready for this, Jürgen?
Yep.
You sure? All right.
Yep, I'm ready.
Before we go into it, I want to just let you know that when I ask this question, there is no such thing as a wrong answer. It's impossible. In fact, the exact opposite is true. The only correct answer is yours. That is the extent of it being personal. So it's not personal really that deep at all. It's just because whatever answer you come up with is right because it's your answer, however long it takes you. If it takes you 20 minutes to think of an answer, that's okay. I'll stay on and wait. If it takes you 2 seconds, we'll be here. Any way it works, it's your answer. So I'm looking forward to seeing your response on this. Here we go. Jürgen Strauss, how do you define success?
That's a big question. For me, and the lighthouse exercise really helped me develop this. And it's around one of the things we start with there is, what's my ideal day look like? And I was reading something this morning talking about planning and making this the most fantastic year ever. And their philosophy was around journaling and starting off with, what's my dream year going to look like? And what would I do if I couldn't fail? So for me, success looks like being able to live that dream year, that dream week, that dream day as often as possible. And so to have a business that enables me to do that, that enables me to make a difference to my clients and perhaps even help my clients live their ideal days because they've got businesses that serve them, not the other way around. It's not a job that they're serving the business. So that to me is one of the cores of what success looks like. And then what follows from that is a level of fulfillment, a level of balance so that I can enjoy my bike riding you mentioned at the beginning and my photography as well as working on the business. I certainly enjoy all the work I do in the business, but I like to have the balance of the physical activity and the getting out into the countryside and also the photography work I do. So yeah, that's what success looks like to me. So balance, fulfillment, living my ideal dream day as often as possible and making a difference to other people so that they can live their ideal day, ideal year, ideal life.
Mr. Jürgen Strauss, ladies and gentlemen, powerful mindset, incredibly experienced, incredibly successful in so many ways. I so appreciate you for coming on the show. And, you know, you were kind of concerned in the beginning. I know you were kidding about if you could bring enough value, but over the top, in my humble opinion, and anyone still watching,
you, Brian.
got plenty. You know, if you agree, go ahead and put up a yes or a clap sign or whatever if you feel right for giving this gentleman a big old high five. I do high tens. We go double every time. I appreciate you all the way from across the pond, as they say. If you wouldn't mind, one last thing, and that is if you were to meet someone who is a budding entrepreneur, just starting out, and they're really not sure what the best piece of advice they could go with to get started, and you had just one piece of advice you could give them, if you were to know right now today what that piece of advice would be to help that entrepreneur to get them started, what would that be?
I'll combine two.
You get one.
And the first one I would say, and this was before I had this conversation yesterday, the first one I would say is focus. Determine who it is, who's your dream customer. Focus on serving their need that you have a proprietary skill or talent in fulfilling and delivering on. Really focus. The more narrow you focus, it's counterintuitive again, like what I was saying before, the expectation part. The more narrow you focus, the more opportunities are going to come your way. So that will be the first one. The second one is something somebody said to me yesterday, and I thought that's brilliant in the light of where we are today in this time of pandemic. And it's everything is temporary. Everything will pass. And they put it in both lights. So here we are in this pandemic and there's lockdowns and it's impacting the economy for a lot of businesses, and that's bad. And there's lots of other bad things happening. And I don't mean to trivialize, because lots of people have lost their lives and lost loved ones and suffered. That's really bad. But in terms of what can we do ourselves, because we can't stop the pandemic, but what can we do ourselves to move forward and to come out of this in the best way we can? That philosophy of everything is temporary, because it's going to pass. It will be over at one point. The other side of that, though, is if you're living your dream day and you're living your ideal day, that's not forever. That will pass too. So be really present and enjoy and be really present in that ideal day or that ideal moment.
Great advice. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Jürgen, for coming on. Thank you everyone who commented and showed their love. Erica, Andrew, Karen, Don, the list goes on and on and on. We thank you all for being here tonight to share this amazing man right here. I got to share him with you. I'm so blessed. Thank you so much once again, Jürgen.
Thank you, Brian, and thanks to everybody that was spent time with us today. I really appreciate it.
And you can tell that he means it from his heart. Oh, you are an amazing guy. I love you like a brother. I do. All right. Well, that's all the time we have for tonight. We went a little over, but it was worth every minute. I appreciate Jürgen and everyone else for hanging on. And that is it for this show. It's a wrap. We will be back again next week right here on the Mind Body Business Show. On behalf of the amazing Jürgen Strauss. I'm your host, Brian Kelly, saying so long for now. Good night and be blessed.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Mind Body Business Show podcast at www.themindbodybusinessshow.com. My name is Brian Kelly.